Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. So we are going to be sharing a little bit of statistics and information on why now is the best time to start a home-based business and really a business in general. We have 3 presenters plus a couple other people that are helping us co-host or contributed to the actual presentation. And we hope that sharing our stories are going to be really positive and motivating for you all. I know there's a couple people that already have home-based businesses on here. We are going to touch on why you might want to expand that to the health and wellness business that we do. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Tashina Gonzalez, and I've been on my health and wellness journey for 5 years. And I'm going to apologize a little bit because I actually have notes because I really want to dig into my financial story, which is not a story that I usually tell on a regular basis. So I typed it up with some notes to make sure I don't miss sharing things with you. So if I think all the way back, like really my main dream was to help people, and I love doing that. And I'm blessed to do that in my volunteer Bible preaching that I do, and that's very fulfilling. But when I went to college, I stood, like when they have all the tables of the departments, I stood there for like a long time looking education, business, I'm gonna go with business because that makes me money. My heart kind of wanted to go to education, but business was gonna make me money. So I ended up getting a degree in business administration marketing with a minor in Spanish. I concentrated a lot in international business and international marketing. And I met someone, and my dream became to be a new product marketing manager. So I wanted to travel all over the world and introduce products into new markets. But when I graduated in 2002, the market was pretty saturated and everyone wanted 10 years of experience for any marketing position. So I couldn't break in. So I went into real estate management for a couple years, and then I went into the automotive industry. So for us here in the Midwest, Michigan, Ohio, I started living what would have been the American dream, right? And currently I am a 6-figure earner in the top 8% of income earners in my area. And if I worked at a plant, I would be a supervisor and I would manage about 50 people, but instead I manage that amount of information and plants. So I work as a facilities contract administrator, and I've been able to travel all over Mexico and the Midwest. So my next logical step in my career would be to get a master's and become a manager and have a car as part of my salary. But another part of my story is also I've been forced to stay in a job that I didn't want to be in for an extra year, developed high blood pressure from working 80 hours a week, and close to experience verbal abuse from a boss that I didn't get along and forced out of a position. And more recently, being furloughed with reduced pay, removal of all my education opportunities that make my job enjoyable, and no longer traveling to Mexico. Not as I mentioned, sometimes working 60 to 80 hours a week. So there's times where people will say, hey, do you teach people how to speak Spanish? And my answer has to be, I don't have time for that. And obviously, spending less time than I would like with my family. So I also tried network marketing in the past a couple times. In college one time, and the company was unethical and went under. And then another time, and the system just didn't work for me. I never loved the products, never had emotional connection to it. And just the system of hotel meetings and home parties with whiteboards, it didn't work for me. So I assumed it was never going to be for me. In my head, my goal was one day I'm going to be a real estate investor. That's how I'm going to get my freedom, but that time never came. So when I was working 80 hours a week 5 years ago, somehow Young Living came into my life. I was riddled from head to toe with illnesses, high blood pressure, hormones, allergies, mood issues, everything. And I found an education system that supported my wellness, got me off of tons of medication. And I found out that Young Living was different when it came to the opportunity. So that's part of my story. I'm going to share a little bit more with you guys at the end. But with that, I'm actually going to jump into our PowerPoint presentation with some of the details of really why now is the best time. So I already shared my story. Now, how many people recognize these logos on the screen? How many of you have used these companies, these logos that are on the screen? I've used all of them, I believe, except Venmo, but I know what Venmo is. So these are companies that were created during the last recession. So while people were losing their homes, losing their jobs, having issues, these individuals, the ones that started these companies, they saw needs and problems and opportunity, and they created great companies. And really, with what we have going on right now, we all have the opportunity to do that. But why network marketing? A lot of people have a really negative view of network marketing. All of us are aware of that. But what are some of the benefits, really, of network marketing? So the thing is, like with me, I have a full-time job, I have a volunteer job, but I can still build my network marketing business part-time, anytime. You can build it from anywhere, right? Most of us that had a home-based business, we may have had to switch how we were teaching a little bit, but it didn't really affect our business overall that much. In fact, a lot of us actually had an increase of business. You can launch it for as little to $500 to $1,000. In our case, we're going to deep dive into it later into why Young Living, why we chose this health and wellness business. So you really get started with your membership package with your first education in health and wellness for really under $500. But this time of year, like we have our convention coming up, and so we would encourage you to invest in your education on a regular basis. So we still, even when you put in that convention ticket, you still don't even hit that $500 mark. So very low entry fee. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So we have a bunch of people that have collaborated on this educational experience so that we could give you different perspectives and lots of education. And then your business partners have vested interest in you. So I train and coach other people to be health and wellness coaches. And the better I am at coaching them, the better everyone is able to perform and the better my business goes. Oh, switched over. And you can create enough tax deductions alone to make it worthwhile. So I talked about how much income I make in the traditional business world as an automotive professional. Now, in a short amount of time, I actually went from a lower income up to being an 8% income earner. But I can tell you, if I would have done that without a business, I don't know how much my income would have increased because I put myself in a new tax bracket. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am to be able to travel and write it off because I'm doing my business and to have all of the home office tax deductions that I have. It makes it completely worthwhile in that aspect for me. You can learn it while you earn. You can earn whatever you choose to. So you can earn an extra $500, $1,000, $5,000 or more a month. And we have people on this call that are at all of those different levels. With time and success, your income will be produced by hundreds and perhaps thousands of people. So that's the first informational part that I want to share with you guys. With that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we are going to turn it over to Sheila, and she's going to share a bit of her story with us and then share a little bit more statistics and information with you. Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay, at least that came through. All right, hello everyone. I'm Sheila Sherman and I am coming at you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But I am from Detroit, Michigan, and we've been living here, me and my family, for the last 19 years, almost 20 years now I've been living in Canada. So time goes by really fast. Um, I want to share with you my story with how I came to uh, get started in Young Living, which was 12 years ago. So I have been using oils for 12 years now, and almost exclusively for our health needs. I want to say 99.9% for any of our health needs. We've been using the essential oils from Young Living. And my journey began, as I said, 12 years ago, when my sister gave me a call from Texas. She lives in Houston, Texas, and she was super excited because her daughter had chronic fatigue, and she had been looking for something natural to help her daughter. And she found it with Young Living, and she called me about Young Living. I'd never heard of Young Living 12 years ago. And she said, you have to get these oils. You have to get these oils. And she knew I was all into health. I had started my health journey in my 20s. So it was several years before getting into Young Living with eating naturally. And I've been a raw foodist and a raw food chef and all kinds of stuff like that. So she knew I was into natural products, and she contacted me. And when I got the oils, I pretty much had heard of aromatherapy, but I kind of poo-pooed it. I was like, this really doesn't even make any sense that you could smell something and then, have health benefits. I've come to learn since then that it's not nonsense and that there's real science behind it. But at that time, I just did it because she was so excited about them. I thought, okay, I'll try it. So I got these oils, and this would have been in November of 2007. And I got these oils, and I didn't know what to do with them. But basically, it at that time came with little pamphlets that said, apply oils to the back of your neck. So I applied the oils to the back of my neck. I didn't know what oil. I just did whatever oil. And interestingly enough, after about 2 weeks, my neck, which I had a condition with, and I didn't put them on the back of my neck because of my neck. I did it because the instruction said, put it on the back of your neck. But I used to crack my neck. I like to show people how I used to do it. So I grab my head and click, click, click. You may have seen people do that before. And I used to do that all day, every day for like 20 years prior to that, from the time I woke up till the time I went to bed. It was ridiculous. I'd gone to see chiropractors about it, and it just always stayed the same until the oils. And it went away. I no longer had to crack my neck. And here I am 12 years later, and I still don't have to crack my neck. So once that happened, that was number one that happened. Number two that happened is I have 6 kids, and my number 6 was 2 years old. And from birth to the 2 years, I was experiencing some postpartum. I was sad all the time. I was crying all the time. I didn't know what was going on. I had 6 kids. I'm a homeschooling mom. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with all these kids around me 24/7? And so in a week, it only took a week, and the blues went away. And I was happy to be a mom again. I was happy to be with my kids again. I was happy to be a homeschooling mom again. It changed everything. And so with those 2 things, I started digging deeper, first into the oils. And then, because I was sharing with people anyway, those 2 things were like miraculous for me. And I was sharing with everybody I could think of and giving them oils, because I had learned so much about the oils, and I knew that the oils could handle almost anything that people, the common everyday things, and then also some not so common everyday issues that people have with their health. So I decided to do the business. And that is something that I've never regretted. I was always entrepreneurial minded, but it went along with my philosophy of health, and also being in control of your time. So I wanted to be in control of my time, because I was still a homeschooling mom, right? So I needed to be able to control my time, be with my kids, and then also for that financial freedom that multi-level marketing, network marketing had to offer. So with that, just to mention that I am a platinum now with Young Living 12 years later, and I still work it. My kids are grown now. My kids are a part of my business now. I just got finished working with my daughter on some things with the business, and it has fulfilled one of my dreams to have a family business. Actually, every child of mine that is of age is a part of my business. So that's exciting to me. If you can't tell, I'm excited about the business part of Young Living. And so let's go on to the slide, why network marketing? No, that was your slide. My slide is the myths, right? So are we all good? Okay, great. Okay, so I love to talk about network marketing. Network marketing is so cool. It has its, I like to call it personal development with a compensation plan, with commissions, right? What network marketing does is it helps us to grow, and helps us to grow in every area of our lives. And so, but let's touch on some myths here. Myth number one, getting in on the ground floor is the best path to success in network marketing, in a network marketing company. And the reason why that's a myth is getting in on the ground floor, there can be advantage and disadvantage. An advantage could be that you're in at the ground floor, right? You're at the beginning of a new company, and that can be very, very exciting. The disadvantage to that could be the fact that it is a new company and it's not yet established. And because it's not yet established, you could be putting your time and efforts into a company that may or may not succeed, right? I mean, nothing is guaranteed in the whole world, but there are some things that make the chances of being able to predict some success in companies, and that would be longevity. Young Living has been around for 25 years and has grown around the globe, and has grown in its amount of members, as well as the sales that's generated. And you may know that essential oils, once upon a time, back 12 years ago, yeah, they were just kind of like something that you didn't know much about. And now so many other companies have gone to understand the benefits of essential oils. And so we have that track record, and that's why it's not always the best path. The other thing I like to say about that is, because we are a global company, that part is relatively new. And so therefore, there is so much room to grow. And as Tashina said, that was one of her dreams, is to be able to introduce new products around the globe. And she's able to fulfill her dream of being able to do that. So that's really exciting. So think about that it's not always about getting in on the ground floor. And I know a lot of people think that about network. Oh, we didn't get in on the ground floor, it's too late. No, absolutely not. All right, myth number two, network marketing is an opportunity for someone who is not doing well financially to make a lot of money. So I'm just going to repeat that one part, who is not doing well financially to make a lot of money. So why did I get into network marketing? I got into it to have financial freedom. So that's not a myth, because that's not possible. And that's not a myth because that's not even probable. The reason why that's a myth is because people will look at this sometimes as a get-rich scheme. Network marketing is not a get-rich scheme. Network marketing or scheme. Network marketing requires work, just like any other job, any other business. It requires effort. It requires thought. It requires work. It is not something that you get into and think, oh, all I have to do is this, two things, and then boom, I'm going to have tons of money. And that's actually okay, because there's really hardly, unless you hit the lottery, I guess, but there's no businesses where you can expect to go into and put in very little effort and then make a lot of money. The amount of money that we make is directly connected to the amount of effort that we put into the business. And that's another thing that I love about it. I am in control of how much money I make by the effort that I put in, not by a boss and waiting for a boss to give me a raise. Okay. Myth number 3, network marketers succeed by being in the right place at the right time. And again, same thing. We succeed with putting in the effort, putting in the work, personal development, developing ourselves, increasing our skills in communication with people, sometimes with marketing, different things like that. So we have the support for people to help you succeed. Young Living gives us support to help us succeed. And as teams, we have support to help succeed, but it's not the right place, the right time. It's our efforts. And isn't that the way it should be anyway? It's the amount of effort that we put into something and then expect and know that we will get the payoff from doing that. And then myth 4, the big guys make all the money off the little guy. Well, this is something that I hear a lot, and it is simply not true. And the best thing that I can say about that is that I personally know people who were the little guys. I was the little guy 12 years ago. I know people who were the little guys 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, and they have become the big guys. So I think what has happened is when people think of the big guys, they think, oh, well, you know what? It's only the people at the top that make the money. That is just absolutely a myth. At least with Young Living, I can speak to Young Living because that is what I've been involved in, and I know their compensation plan. And everybody has equal opportunity to be able to reach the top of the ranks with Young Living. And so that would be myth number 4. And we're going to go on to the next slide then, Tashina. All righty. So now, why health and wellness? As I said, I started my health and wellness journey in my 20s. And I think the closest I'll let you know of my age is that was about a little over 30 years ago. But that's when I started. And it was even kind of big then. People were starting to talk about health and wellness. But it has grown so much since then. And especially now with some of the things with what's going on, health and wellness is getting even bigger. People are starting to pay more attention to their health and wanting to do things better for their health. And so the global wellness market reached approximately 4.7 trillion in 2019. So that's 4.7 trillion in 2019. And it is a growing economy. The health and wellness industry growth rate is 6.4%. So these categories of this growth, this health and wellness, is complementary medicine, preventative medicine, of course, healthy eating, we've been hearing about that for years, nutrition, weight loss is huge, the spa economy, physical activity, personal care, anti-aging, beauty, and more. And so what's really cool is Young Living actually hits, if not every single one of those areas, with our, not only our oils, but our health and wellness products that we are taking a part of, a huge part of that global wellness economy. Young Living fits into actually, I'm trying to look to see if there's a category we don't fit into. And of those mentioned, we fit into every single one of those categories with our oils and with our products. So in other words, health and wellness is huge. So let's talk a little bit about why Young Living. And I mentioned some things about why Young Living, right, already. But there are some key points that make Young Living stand out from some of the other health and wellness companies and even other companies that have essential oils. First of all, Young Living owns their own farms. And the benefit of that is that what that basically means is that Young Living is in control of the products that are coming off of these farms. Now, we are the only ones that own our own farms and have that control. So what do we need control of? We need control of the quality of the plants that are coming from those farms. And Young Living has a very, very high standard in which that we reach in order to provide the highest medicinal quality oils and also the highest quality healthcare products and nutritional products that's available. And so every essential oil is not created equally. And so we're going to touch on that a little bit with point number 2. We are the industry leading research and testing seed to seal promise that is unmatched in the industry. And so seed to seal, I'm going to touch on it just a little bit, but you can learn more about the seed to seal process from www.seedtoseal.com. Go to seedtoseal.com to learn more about our promise. And so basically, that is Young Living's promise to the highest standard in essential oils. And it's called Seed to Seal because we start off with the seed, the highest quality seeds of the plants, and then all the way to when it is sealed in the process. There is testing, there is making sure that that product is not denatured, that the product is not, what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't have any impurities, anything like that. And what happens in between there, the seed and the seal, is the harvesting of the plant, the cultivating of the plant, kind of goes the other way, cultivating, harvesting, and then also extraction, which is our distillation process, and then going into bottling the product. So every step of the way is important, and we are unmatched in the industry of making sure that each step of the way is going to provide you and us the highest quality product available. I mentioned before 25 years experience and what that means, and we are still growing around the world. And so I don't see us going away anytime soon at all. It is a wonderful company, wonderfully run, as well as just the network that we have around the world. So 25 years of experience and makes a huge difference. Low startup cost, and we talked a little bit about our startup cost before, and you know, there are a range of costs that people get into in order to get into network marketing. Ours is so reasonable, it's almost ridiculous actually, but it's great, and we get great products as our starter kits in which to be able to use for our home and our families. I just want to kind of go back a little bit when I first got started. When I first got started, again, homeschooling mom, 6 kids, 1 income from my husband, right? And at that time, and so I needed something that was not a huge startup cost. I needed something that I could invest in for my family and then be able to continue to share the product with people and start to generate an income. So that was really huge for us. Not only did it help us financially, but it also helped us in our health and well-being of me and all of my 6 kids. And then the largest selection of essential oils, oil-infused products, and toxin-free lifestyle brands. So Young Living is about all of that. We have the oils. Our products are all oil-infused because when our nutrients, our nutritionals are infused with essential oils, it makes them 24% more absorbable to the body. And then also toxin-free. I mean, this is pretty much what it's all about. It's about living life with less chemicals in order to be healthier. So, and we have the largest selection of any essential oil company. So with that, Tashina, I will turn it back over
Sheila,
to you.
can you just paint a little bit clearer picture of how your life has changed financially and what you do today? Because there are definitely people on this call that when you say I'm a platinum, they have no clue what that means whatsoever.
Sure. Absolutely. So first of all, I will say if you all remember the crash that happened in, I want to say, I don't know, when was that, when the crash, the market, the whole Fannie Mae
2008 to 2011. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So my husband had his own business, and that's what was supporting us. 2007, I started with Young Living. By the time the crash happened, he was able to survive maybe a couple more years, and then he had to close his business. Thank God I had already begun in Young Living. And by the time that happened, I want to say I was a Young Living, I had enough income coming in. I was going to say my rank again, but it doesn't really, it won't mean anything to anybody, but I had enough income coming in to be able to sustain us until he figured out. So that one income went from him over to me, which was absolutely a blessing to have already had that and already built that up. And we know that times right now are unstable as well. And so I made that investment and put in that time, and that it was able to help me. But since then, basically, what that has meant for us, it has been that we're able to actually invest in some things that that we want to. Basically, we have that investment income. One of the things, if on my bio there, we recently purchased a horse stable business, and we were looking for property. It just kind of came up, and we put a bid on it, and we got it, and now we're running that as even another income, family-run income. That's another family-run business. As I said, my husband had closed his business that many years ago, and this is the first business he's been back in since then. And then also how it's changed is I've also published a book. I was able to put finances in publishing a book, and so a prayer journal. So what that has done is the income from Young Living has been something to help sustain our family, not only mine, but my grown children now make an income as well from Young Living, because I also place them in the business. So it's been a bit, and they don't even do it full time, but I was able to set it up so that they can have an income. And that's very important to me. These are some of my dreams. One of my dreams is to have family business and also be able to pass down something to my children. And in fact, I'm able also, one of my other dreams is just to be able to help people financially. And I have had cousins and different family members, you know what? Instead of, I'm not saying don't help people monetarily by giving, but one of my ways is in giving is to get them set up in Young Living so that they can start generating for their future, and also be able to have that residual income. Because if you think of a doctor, and I love doctors, nothing against doctors, but you think of a doctor can save a lot of lives, and that's awesome, and he can give a lot of money, but he can't put people in his business to help them be able to earn residual income or additional income. So I'm just using doctor as an example, but that's one of the dreams that I have had, is to be able to provide something. It's willable. Income from Young Living, businesses from Young Living, they're also willable. So I wanted that for my family. I'm living the lifestyle that I choose to live, where we choose to live, and then also, I have to mention this: the people that I have met, including Tashina, the people that I have met through Young Living, the friendships, I am so rich in friendships from the people that I have met through Young Living. And I've met lots of people, and some of us have become very, very close, and some are just, beautiful people that I'm glad that they are in my life. And so the richness in that is just, I think, immeasurable. So yes, financially, but also it's fulfilling. It's a very, very fulfilling business. And I am, I just got to say that I'm just 100% fulfilled. I mean, like every single one of my dreams are coming true, and it's just amazing.
Has Young Living helped you travel? Has that factored into some of the benefits that you've had?
Well, since you mentioned travel, I have won 5 trips with Young Living. I've won Hawaii. We had these incentive contests every year, so I've won Hawaii. I've won Mediterranean cruise. I've won Alaskan cruise. I've won the Caribbean cruise. And what's number 5? Okay, 4 trips I've won, and then 2 trips for reaching my, going up the ranks, so to speak. So I've been to Idaho. I've been to, gosh, where else is the other place where Gold Club is? Coeur d'Alene. I've been there. I've traveled to northern BC, so British Columbia and Canada, to go to one of the farms there. That's the cool thing. We get to see the farms and go to the farms. So I've been there, and that was just absolutely amazing. And then, of course, back and forth from Canada to US. I've been, I've taught in the US, I've taught here in Canada. And yeah, so it has allowed me to travel as much as my husband will allow me to travel.
All right, thank you. I think that clearly paints the picture for those that might not have understood, what does reaching platinum actually mean. So with that, we're going to turn it over to the wonderful Lydia Riley, and she is going to share some of her story, her perspective, and what her goals are going forward.
Thank you so much, Tashina. Can you guys hear me okay? I really appreciate this opportunity to be able to share my story, you guys. I have a really, really unique Young Living story. And I think everybody says that everyone's got a unique story. My story is that I am married to the former chief sales officer of Young Living. And he was at Young Living for 3 years. And during that time, guys, I got to tell you, I love telling this story because it's almost kind of like, guys, I pulled back the curtains. I saw what was back there. It's freaking amazing. So just a little bit about that, as a chief global sales, Young Living is a global company. We're all over the place. One of the biggest, it can be really busy and chaotic for your family, but as the chief global sales officer, he's got to be around the world all the time. And the way that Young Living really makes that easy for families to be able to handle on the corporate side is I had basically a free ticket anywhere I wanted to go, whenever I wanted to go. So I will tell you right now that I took full advantage. This is before my baby came. I have a little 14-month-old. We knew we wanted to have that baby. We knew it would change our life. So what we did was just took a few months for me to just hop on and go on these incentive trips that Sheila was talking about. So I went to Hawaii, I went to Honduras, Belize on a cruise, I went to Banff, Canada for a diamond trip, I went to Sydney, Australia, I went all over France, Provence, Nice, Marseille, Paris. Just like she said, there's a farm at most of the destination trips that Young Living plans. They want to make sure that the membership has an opportunity to tour the farms, to experience the seed to seal. I got to do that. And I'm telling you guys what a humongous gift that was for me. But besides that, besides being completely spoiled by the corporate side, besides that, being able to be spoiled by being able to see firsthand seed to seal, I also was able to sit down because my husband was busy working. So I really had to be really, entertain myself, figure out how I was going to fill my time. And the way that I did that, I am so happy to say, and I've been so rewarded by that time, is that I would sit down, I would talk to a lot of these highest ranking individuals. They're the ones that, I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but the highest rank at Young Living is Diamond, and there's three ranks within Diamond: Diamond, Crown Diamond, and Royal Crown Diamond. And being able to meet these people who, some of them, by the way, had just started their business 3 years ago. Some of them were members of Young Living for 25 years. Either way, the independence of time, the obvious financial rewards for having started their Young Living business were obvious, and they imparted a lot of generous conversation with me just about that life. And I realized, eventually my husband did take a different job. He did leave, but I knew upon his leaving that this was the company for me. This is the business for me. I was already kind of natural. I'm already kind of a hippie crunchy girl. You don't have to talk to me twice about losing toxins in my household, about putting, healthy plant extracts on my skin to benefit my health. Like you don't have to, you don't have to convince me about that. So the products, I already loved them. I was already crazy about the product. I was already telling my husband to bring me home some extra rose if he could find some. I mean, that's baller oil. But so I was already sold on the products. That was no problem. The only issue for me was that I just couldn't join the business during the time that my husband was in his role, just because it's a conflict of interest. So the minute he left, I was like, boom, got my kit, and I am running with this business. So I just think that what I like to kind of lend vision towards is the fact that I did not like network marketing. I was not a network marketing person. I'm not that person. I am sorry. But from what I've been able to see, it is probably the best way to gain a revenue stream that you can run alongside your life. So these are products you get anyway. These are products you use anyway. A lot of these are household products that you are already buying. So being able to buy them within a company where you could trust where it comes from. Again, that is seed to seal. We could go more in depth into that, but I do truly believe that the lifestyle is something anyone can attain, and you don't have to have a special gift. You just have to, be able to be coachable and love the products. Get your hands on the products and just start using them. And it is a really, really phenomenal way to monetize your life. That's it.
Lydia, can you share just a little bit with us what you did with your time before, for the people that didn't get to read your bio and the event? So like how you generate income before and why you think you need to do it this way now.
So for 10 years before I met my husband, I was a single mom, and I worked in tech sales. I live in Utah. It's known as the Silicon Slopes. A lot of companies that can't afford to be in San Francisco anymore, they move to Utah, and these tech companies are just blowing up here. So, while I had a single mom struggle legit for like 5 years, the second half of that 5 years was really quite nice. And again, I wasn't one of those people, which is part of the reason why I don't think I ever looked at a network marketing company seriously, because I wasn't dying for the money at that point. But I was going to work, and I was missing a lot of time with my daughter. And once I met Ben, once I kind of got dove into what network marketing can do, I had to kind of sit on the sidelines for a little bit. Again, he was in the role that he was. I couldn't really join the company. But I would have certainly, had I seen it from the way that I've seen it now, I would have just diversified. I would have considered it as just adding to the cachet of possible income potential for me. So now I completely believe in multiple streams of income. In fact, I'm a real estate agent. I do a lot of real estate. I do not a lot of, but I do some real estate investing. I flip properties, and I'm always looking for an additional income stream. You'll never be able to cap that for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So with that, I'm just going to finish out my story. I am going to just give you guys some things to think about of what we've gone over, and then we'll open it up for questions that you have for anyone that is on here. So I just want you guys to go and think back to that first slide, right? We talked about it. Sheila talked about it in her story. That period between 2007 and 2011, a lot of people lost. A lot of people lost jobs, they lost businesses, they lost income, they lost homes. And I actually, when I go back to my story, see, I started in the automotive industry in 2004, and then I went to 2008, and both me and my ex-husband were in the automotive industry. So he lost his job, and they were selling my company that I was at the time. And so I decided then that that would never happen to me again, ever. So we almost lost our house because of the decrease in income. I had to beg the government for a grant to keep my house. But I went out, and that was the second that I went from making $40,000 a year in about a year and a half to making $80,000 a year. Because I told myself I would never be in that position again. And my ex-husband left the automotive industry to go to the healthcare industry to diversify, because that's the smart thing to do. So we saw all of those companies that made the decision. We saw all those companies that they made the decision, and a lot of them became millionaires and multi-millionaires. And another thing that Sheila already mentioned, even though right now I don't yet have my time freedom, Young Living has already filled some gaps and brought me closer to my dream. Because Sheila already mentioned that what I wanted to do was to bring products to new markets. And so right now, when I talk to a lot of African Americans and I say, what are you doing holistically for your health? They will say something about CMOS or whatever the popular thing is, but they rarely talk about essential oils. I have the opportunity to teach them. When I talk to Spanish-speaking people, a lot of times they don't have the depth of knowledge about essential oils. We right now I get to share with people. Just this past week, I've been able to either have conversations or share with people in Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Sweden, Philippines, all over the world. When I also have had the wonderful opportunity to travel with Young Living. Sometimes it's just tax deductible. I've won one trip so far with Young Living. And just having a tax deductible trip to Croatia was more than worth it. It was so beautiful and so amazing. But especially being divorced, I probably would have never went on the Alaskan cruise and traveled all over British Columbia. I probably would have never gone by myself to Mexico several times. I would have never gone to Croatia or the Netherlands. And going there, when I walked around again, Croatia and Netherlands, I saw nothing of Young Living. There's so much opportunity and so many people that need to be reached with health and wellness. And then again, going back to my story, I don't have to choose anymore between business and education. I get to do business and education together because my business is educating people about holistic wellness. So it is just totally and amazingly awesome. I'm 100% sure and confident that within the next year, Young Living is going to bring me that last step of what my dream is for financial freedom, because it has already fulfilled so many dreams for me. So if you are here and you are watching this, I want you guys to take action, because that's what it needs. It's not just a feeling, you have got to take action. So if you are not part of the Young Living family right now, As soon as we cut this off, you get with the person that invited you and you ask them, how can I be down? How can I be part of the Young Living family? How can I get to that $500 a month? And if you are already part of the Young Living family, if you don't have your convention ticket, because if you have any doubts, I promise you the convention will clear those up for you. Get your convention ticket and say, hey, I've just been sitting on the sidelines. I haven't really been ordering. I don't really even know where to go to start with the business. Can you help me get started with the business? Because 12 years from now, we can look back and we can be reading your books or seeing your face somewhere on a PowerPoint presentation like we did for all the people for those companies. So that is what we wanted to share with you guys today. With that, if anyone has any other additional comments they want to make, or if they have any questions, we will open it up for that.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question for Sheila. So I'm a homeschool mom of 2. I don't know how you did 6. So one of my biggest things, I have multiple businesses and things going on, Young Living being one. And there's a lot of times in the day where I feel like I either did really, really good homeschooling or I did really, really good in my business. It usually isn't both. Like, I really struggle with giving my kid, because the reason I'm doing this is so I can have time with my kids. But then if I'm doing things that are pulling away from my kids, then it's a conflict. So I guess, I don't know if that's a question, but.
You're muted, Sheila.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, it won't let me do it. So you'll have to send the request and then it comes up and then I can do it. So I'll be real quick. One of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm talking to homeschooling moms, because so many people are suddenly homeschooling and they're trying to manage at home. So I'll be happy actually to Sheena, or I'm inhibited by my phone. I can't see everything. But if you get your information to me, I'd be happy to get on a one-on-one with you and go a little bit deeper. But the first thing I'd say is it's okay to do really good at homeschooling one day and no business, and really good at business one day and no homeschooling. It's okay. I don't know how old your kids are, but we learn all the time. Kids learn all the time. And the beauty of homeschooling is you get to set your own schedule of what you decide. And if, I never did summer vacations, because I said, guess what? We're going to school through the summer and we'll take vacation whenever I want. So it doesn't matter. It's your homeschool. Sometimes, depending on what state you're in, there are certain regulations and things that you have to abide by. So you have to, of course, address those things. But I'm telling all moms, take it easy on yourself and don't stress. Do your self-care. Get those oils, have those oils, but you're going to just, homeschooling does not have to look like school at home, 5 days a week, 8 to 5 or 8 to 3, whatever times kids are in school. Doesn't have to look like that. So if you want to jump on a call with me at any point, Tashina should be able to pass on, or somehow we can connect on Facebook or something, and I'll be happy to go in more detail and help you out, or just be a shoulder to cry on.
I have a question for all 3 of you on the panel. I'm wondering, as you look back when you first started your businesses, what would you say is the one thing that you did well for your business that you wish you would have done a lot sooner?
Since I'm unmuted, you want me to answer that first? Since
Yeah,
I'm
you can
already
go
muted?
first.
Okay, so I'm not sure I understand the question though, because you said, as I look back when I first started, is there something that I wish I had done when I first, that I'm doing now that I didn't do when I first started? Is that the question?
Yeah, or somewhere
Okay.
along the line that you thought, oh, this was a great thing I'm doing to boost my business. I wish I had known that a long time ago, or I wish I would have done that a lot sooner.
A lot sooner. My social media, 100%. I started personally looking into like the whole social media thing about 11 years ago, about a year or so after starting my business, and I didn't really get into it for who knows why. But now that I am, and I'm finally wrapping my head around it and moving in more strides to master social media. I am a baby boomer. Us baby boomers, for whatever reason, we got like a social media block, many of us. So I had that same block, and I wish I had mastered that sooner in my business.
Can I go next? I want to go next. I want to go next because I want to piggyback off that. I think that a lot of times people get concerned about becoming that person in their families' lives or friends' lives that's like that kind of I'm always trying to sell you something, that salesperson. And let's be honest, I think that feels yucky to all of us, right? And so I think that what I've been able to observe, and this is a much bigger conversation that what we're going to have just at the tail end here, is that if you can find a way to personal brand yourself, lead with you. You are the reason people are friends with you. They're friends with you for something about you. And if you can find out what those things are about you, then it's as easy as incorporating something you legitimately use, you legitimately love into your life. And then it's not selling. Then you're just sharing. You're sharing just, this is what I do. Every friend of mine knows when they get in the car, they're going to, what do you smell like today, Lydia? Anybody that I meet up to go on a hike with, oh my gosh, you smell like Raven or peppermint. Yeah, it's because I always use Raven or peppermint. You want some? And I really do believe that, social media gives us the ability to have a greater reach with that, right? Because if it's just me going on one hike with one friend, that's just one person. But if you can find a way to show your own personal brand to your social media audience, let's face it, that's a lot more eyeballs on you. And then the trick is just figuring out how you, I mean, for me, it's just like, I'm a hippie, I'm crunchy. I just do, like, I'm not afraid to be made fun of, juicing all the time, all organic. That's just like the life. And so it fits right in there. And so if but people have done this in a lot of ways. And Sheila, you guys were just talking about homeschooling. I know firsthand a lot of the Royal Crown Diamonds, the people who were making more money in a month than I have ever earned in a year were homeschooling moms who just started sharing. They just started sharing the products that they loved, sharing the way that they use these products with their kids. So just my 2 cents. I think that social media is big, and I think you have to lead with you, and don't worry. If you're worried about being a salesperson, if you're worried about being that person that's always trying to promote, that there's absolutely ways to do it in a much more heart-led way that is just sharing.
So for me, I would say the second that you decide that you're going to do the business, make sure that you are doing the business completely. So making sure that you're doing it, what Adam Green states is, make sure you're not doing it sometimes, but doing it part-time. So making sure that you have a schedule and that you're learning from someone. So the thing that I probably did not do that I should have done earlier is have a clear coach. Some people are blessed with an amazing business partner that helped them start the business, and they can get with them on a weekly basis, and they can get the details, and they can talk through things. And I don't have that. And so I probably 2 years ago, when I started to not see things fitting together, in order to get out of my own blinders or know the adjustments, because what I've been needing is little adjustments. It's not been major things because I already have a degree in business. So I probably should have gotten a coach 2 years ago. Now I'm in downline leadership and I'm in group coaching right now. So the second, remember that you have a business, and so that requires investment, that requires a schedule, that requires making sure that you have a clear coach. So, and it's your job to do that. Like, it's your job to go, if you have a business partner, mentor, upline that says hi to you every day, it's your job to come with the questions. It's your job to make sure you have a weekly check-in. It's not their job to, because they're trying to take care of sometimes hundreds of people. So treat your business like a business, understand what that means, and do that on a daily or weekly basis. So Sarah, you had a question as well. You were raising your hand and we got into this question. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, I guess I like the result stories that everybody's been telling us about, but I would like some more information on how those results were accomplished and what is involved in networking.
So I think that's like a completely separate call, right? So if you have access to whoever you usually work with on a weekly, daily basis, and you ask that question to them, whoever your upline silver or gold is, and if you still need some additional details, you can reach out to me for sure for like a 30-minute, because I actually do that on a regular basis. Like, I have an appointment with somebody tomorrow, and I had an appointment with somebody on social media, but I would pose that because it really is going to look different for each team. It requires leverage of certain tools and systems, and each team is going to be different. So if Sheila gave you another 30 minutes on how she did it, it's going to be different from me, and it's going to be different from Lydia. So your first source of information, you know, and again, if for whatever reason, because it does happen, the immediate person you're usually a business partner doesn't have that answer, then just ask your upline silver or your upline gold. And again, if you want an outside perspective, you can certainly reach out to me for outside perspective, but that's where I would start first for those details. So I'm going to share my screen for one additional thing, which is part of our income disclosure statement, just for some of the individuals that, again, when we throw around some of these ranks, so just to show like what some of the average is. So the average for an executive is 502 per month. The average for a silver is 2,000 per month, gold 5,600 per month, platinum 13,000 per month. So that's just an average for some of the people that don't know what we're talking about. We also talked about diamonds and crown diamond and royal crown diamond. So Lydia made reference to people that can make more in a month than some people make in a year. Those are the numbers that we're referring to. So Sheila, there was a question from on the side, if you would be willing to share about how much you make. I know how Shannon Hudson usually does it is she puts the income disclosure statement up there, and then she says she is a above average diamond, and take that what you will. If you would mind sharing that question was asked.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
Good. Okay. I am so sorry that my phone is doing something weird on Zoom right now. I've never happened before, but I can't really do all the controls. Anyway, we are actually not allowed to say how much we make. It could actually, you know, we're just not. We shouldn't do that. But this is what we're allowed to do. We're allowed to show the income disclosure statement and look at those averages. And so I am average. I'm actually a little below the average of the platinum right now, but I'm happy and grateful for every cent. And I'm looking forward to being above average diamond really, really soon. I'm looking forward to that by the end of this year. So we can actually, what I want to say is you can actually, with our compensation plan, and I'm like a compensation plan, like crazy person, right? You can actually say, okay, this is how much money that I'm choosing to make next month, next 6 months, within the next year. And you can actually plot and say, okay, if this is the amount of money, if I'm wanting to reach silver in a year, and I've actually known people to reach silver in less than 3 months, less than 3 months. And I was told the record right now is about 12 days for silver. Don't ask me how they did that, because I don't know how they did that in 12 days. But it happens. People, they figure out what they want to make. And the only thing I can say is that person had the determination and had decided that within 12 days, I want to make silver. And so I'm not saying everybody can do that. The average Young Living actually has an average time that it usually takes to make silver. And I can't remember that average time, but it might be somewhere around a year. And so, but you can actually plot and say, well, this is my goal. And if this is what I want to do, then I need to share with X amount of people. And then out of that X amount of people, then I'm going to need to bring into my business X amount of people. You can figure it out, and you can plot it, and you can plan it. And that's what I love about our compensation plan. Because when I won trips, I said, okay, what does it take for me to win the trips? What are the rules? What does it take to happen? How many people do I have to get in X amount of time per month? Boom. And then I just did it. And so I'm saying that to say a lot of it depends on us. I say, individually, whether or not you have an active team or whatever, if you have decided, you make the decision, you can make it happen. So I'm a little bit lower than platinum platinum average right now. And I have plotted and decided to hit that diamond by the end of this year for that income.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So somebody just in the chat. So it's just the Federal Trade Commission. You're not allowed to share your income directly. So that's why I was stating, that's what Shannon Hudson usually does. It's like, we just show the average. You could say I'm a little bit below, I'm a little bit above. It's a government thing. We can't explain why you can't flash your check or whatever. Even when you say these results are not typical, it's clear on the slide. These results are not typical whatsoever. 96% of people don't ever share with another person, right? So we're very clear. These results are not typical, but it is a business, and the effort that you put into the business. We were on a call, Lydia, myself, and Dana, Lydia Epic, were on a call last week with someone in South Africa that hit silver in 1 month. And she signed up 43 people, and she taught every person that she signed up to sign up additional people. But the average time that it takes to hit silver is about 3 years. 2 years and 8 months is how much it usually takes people. So again, there's been people who have taken 25 years to hit diamond or Royal Crown diamond. Do you have another plan to get this average monthly income any other way? If it takes me 25 years, I'm good with that. I'm okay with that.
And am I still unmuted?
Yes.
You still hear me? I just want to say that this income disclosure statement, I want to say that these are actual numbers. So it's not like Young Living just kind of threw some numbers out there of possibilities, but it's actual numbers, whatever year that the one that you're showing right now is actual numbers from that year then they took all the income numbers and then they calculated the average, how long it took for people to do, et cetera, et cetera. So every year we get a new income disclosure statement based on actual numbers of what happened. It's not just something just thrown out in the air. So when you see those higher numbers in platinum and above, and even gold has some spectacular numbers. When you see that, that's income people actually are making.
I was just going to add, I'm sorry, that is something that FTC requires. So it's not like Young Living just says, oh, we're going to come up with our income disclosure. Here it is. They check it, they verify it, and they require it.
I was also going to add to that something that's really interesting, especially with approaching Young Living as a business venture, is that if you were to look at what that income disclosure statement looked like 10 years ago, it was a completely different landscape. It's really been over the last 7 to 10 years where more and more people have caught this vision of, this is a way for me to be able to have a very viable additional stream of income. So the averages that you're seeing are nothing like what you would have seen 10 years ago. So it just speaks to the fact that there's a lot of momentum and energy and expansion that's happening now that honestly, I don't know of any other company that is having almost like a resurgence, if you will, of that kind of growth. And in our current climate, this is, again, a really, really solid way to be able to not only support your family's health, to help those who are around you, but to help them not only physically, but also financially too.
Absolutely.
Someone is asking for a list of referral coaches. So if you want to send me a direct message, I can give you what I've seen other people use. I personally am loving downline leadership, and I definitely needed to do it 2 years ago. So, and it's actually something that you can actually do self-study if you want to while you save up to do it. But there's a lot of favored coaches that individuals have used within Young Living, and I can definitely come up with a list. Just send me a Facebook message. I don't know, Sheila, have you done any specific coaching programs that you would like to suggest?
Actually, I have not. Our upline Diamond, she's been doing coaching with us that she's receiving from a Royal Crown Diamond out here in Canada. And so that's the coaching that I'm doing right now. Prior to that, I haven't done any, I haven't utilized any coaches besides my upline Diamond.
Got it. All right. Any other questions or concerns? We have gone over an hour, guys, but I love this. I love getting to know Sheila better and Lydia better. So I absolutely love this. I greatly appreciate everybody that joined. This was recorded. It is a long presentation, so it's going to take probably an hour to get up to the cloud, and then it's going to take 30 minutes to get to YouTube. But I will drop it into the Facebook invitation afterwards so that everyone can have that recording. Please feel free to share with anyone you want and with all of your teams. If you have a question that was not answered, feel free to Facebook message me, and I'll make sure that you get the details of that question answered. And we are all cross-lined. We wanted to come together to create something that people could share, so share this video liberally. Thank you, guys. Have an amazing evening and a great weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Happy Memorial Day.